The mockery and the vanishing. The great assembly hall of the Cosmic Federation stretched across 3 kilometers of crystalline architecture, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that conveyed the thoughts of 12 advanced species. Today, these ancient civilizations had gathered for what they considered a comedy show. Humanity had requested membership. Ambassador Zextil of the Ethereal Dominion floated above the central podium, his translucent form rippling with amusement. His species had mastered dimensional physics when Earth's continents were still forming. Behind him, holographic displays showed Earth in all its primitive glory, cities choking on pollution, weapons pointed at each other, and curious bipeds who had barely managed to crawl beyond their own moon. Behold, Zextil's voice resonated through telepathic channels. The species that calls itself humanity. They wish to join our confederation of enlightened beings. Waves of mental laughter rippled through the assembly. The crystalline collective's geometric forms chimed in harmonic mockery, while the void swimmers' dark tendrils writhed with what passed for amusement in their species. High Counselor Rack of the mechanical ascendancy projected statistical data into the shared consciousness. Analysis indicates they have achieved crude faster than light travel through brute force fusion drives. Their emotional instability index ranks 847 out of 850 possible classifications. They engage in resource conflicts over frozen water and hydrocarbon deposits. The mechanical being's optical sensors dimmed with what appeared to be mechanical dust dot at the edge of the assembly. Captain Sarah Chen stood in her primitive environmental suit, her small delegation of human scientists, and diplomats looking painfully out of place among beings who could manipulate matter with thought alone. She had volunteered for this mission knowing it would likely end in humiliation. But Earth needed allies. Climate change, resource depletion, and political tensions were pushing humanity toward extinction. Honored members, Sarah spoke through her translation device, her voice barely registering above the mental chatter. We come seeking knowledge and friendship. We know we are young compared to your civilizations, but we believe diversity of thought can benefit everyone. The psychic overmind of Kepler 442b projected images directly into Sarah's brain, showing the rise and fall of 1,000 species. Child race. The collective consciousness spoke. We have observed civilizations rise from primordial soup to cosmic transcendence. You humans display every marker of a self-destructive species. Emotional volatility, resource competition, territorial aggression, and most damning of all, individual consciousness that refuses collective harmony. Elder Morpheus of the Time Weavers manipulated local space-time to appear directly before Sarah, his ancient eyes holding the weight of eons. Your species will likely destroy itself within 3 of your solar cycles. We have seen it countless times. The pattern is always the same. Achieve rudimentary space travel, encounter the vastness of the universe, realize their insignificance, and collapse into despair or... Sarah felt the weight of their judgment, but something burned within her that she couldn't quite identify. What if you're wrong? What if our chaos is actually our strength? The question sent ripples of condescending amusement through the assembly. Commander Nexel of the Geometric Alliance calculated probability matrices in real time. The statistical likelihood of a chaotic emotional species achieving dimensional transcendence is 0.0001%. Your neural patterns show excessive creativity, unpredictable emotional responses, and dangerous individualism. These traits are evolutionary dead ends. Despite the rejection, Sarah's team had achieved something remarkable just by reaching this point. The starship Prometheus Dawn represented humanity's greatest achievement, a fusion of quantum computing, antimatter propulsion, and what Earth scientists called consciousness interface technology. Dr. Marcus Webb, Sarah's chief science officer, had theorized that human intuition might be more than just educated guessing. His experiments suggested human consciousness could interact with quantum fields in ways that pure logic couldn't replicate. The Cosmic Federation's decision was swift and unanimous. Humanity was denied membership and forbidden from entering the galactic community until they evolved beyond their primitive emotional limitations. As a final insult, they were given coordinates to what the aliens called the Graveyard of Ambitions, a dimensional anomaly near the Andromeda nexus where dozens of rejected species had vanished. While attempting to prove their worth, Sarah's jaw tightened as she received the coordinates. "Thank you for your honesty," she said, though her crew could hear the steel in her voice. "We'll find our own path to transcendence." The return journey to Earth should have taken 6 months through normal space-time. But as Prometheus Dawn approached the coordinates of the so-called Graveyard of Ambitions, Dr. Webb's consciousness interface technology began detecting something extraordinary. The dimensional anomaly wasn't just a gravitational curiosity. It was a doorway to something beyond conventional physics. "Captain," Dr. Webb called from his station, his neural interface crown sparkling with unusual activity. "I'm detecting patterns in the quantum foam that match theoretical models for higher dimensional space. This isn't just a stellar phenomenon. It's like a crack in reality itself." Sarah studied the swirling vortex of distorted space-time on their view screen. Every rational part of her mind screamed to retreat, but something deeper, something uniquely human, whispered of possibilities beyond logic. The alien said this was where ambitious species go to die. Maybe they were wrong about what death means. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's consciousness researcher, was practically vibrating. With excitement? "Captain, my readings suggest this anomaly responds to conscious observation. It's almost like it's aware of us and changing based on our expectations." The rest of Sarah's crew, 23 brilliant humans representing Earth's finest minds, faced a choice that would echo through galactic history. They could return home with the bitter news of rejection, or they could embrace the chaos that made them human and leap into the unknown. "All hands, this is the captain," Sarah announced. Over the ship's communication system, "We stand at the threshold of something unprecedented. The aliens who mocked us called this place a graveyard, but I see it as an opportunity. We're about to attempt something no purely logical species would ever consider. We're going to trust our intuition over our fear." Chief Engineer David Park looked up from his quantum manipulation console. "Captain, if we enter that anomaly, there's no guarantee we'll survive, let alone return." Sarah smiled with the kind of reckless hope that had driven humans to cross oceans, climb mountains, and reach for the stars. "David, when has certainty ever been humanity's strong point? We've built our entire civilization on calculated risks and impossible dreams." The vote was unanimous. Every crew member chose the unknown over the safety of retreat. As Prometheus Dawn approached the dimensional rift, reality began to dissolve around them. Colors that had no names painted the darkness, and geometry folded in directions that shouldn't exist. The ship's instruments went wild, registering energy readings that broke every known law of physics. Dr. Webb's consciousness interface suddenly blazed with activity. "Captain, something's happening. My neural patterns are synchronizing with the anomaly. It's not just responding to us, it's trying to communicate." The last transmission from Prometheus Dawn reached Earth 5 years later, carried by quantum entanglement communicators. Sarah's voice, distorted by dimensional interference, delivered a message that would haunt and inspire humanity. "We've found something incredible. Don't mourn us. We're not dying. We're becoming something new. Tell Earth to keep dreaming impossible dreams." Then, silence. The Cosmic Federation declared the incident a predictable outcome. Another chaotic species had destroyed itself, reaching for powers beyond their comprehension. They updated their databases. Humanity. Status. Extinct. Through dimensional. Hubris. They were catastrophically wrong. Asterisk. The return and revelation, 5 years after the disappearance of Prometheus Dawn. The Cosmic Federation had nearly forgotten about humanity. Earth had gone silent, apparently accepting their species' fate. The 12 advanced civilizations continued their orderly existence, maintaining perfect galactic harmony through logical consensus and emotional suppression. It was during the quinquennial stability assessment that reality itself seemed to hiccup. The first sign appeared in the Nexus Observatory, where the ethereal dominion monitored dimensional fluctuations across 17 galaxies. Sensor arrays that had operated flawlessly for millennia suddenly registered impossible readings. Ambassador Zexthul materialized his consciousness into his most solid form, studying data that defied every known law of physics. Impossible. His telepathic voice rippled with confusion. Something is approaching through the seventh dimension. Nothing can traverse the seventh dimension and maintain molecular cohesion. High Counselor Vrack's mechanical form clicked and whirred as he processed the incoming data. Dimensional signature analysis indicates the object originated from the Andromeda Nexus anomaly. Cross-referencing with historical data suggests his optical sensors dimmed as the correlation became clear. The object matches the quantum signature of the extinct human vessel Prometheus Dawn. The assembly hall filled with the mental equivalent. OF stunned silence. Elder Morpheus of the Time Weavers manipulated local space-time to observe the approaching object directly, his ancient consciousness recoiling at what he witnessed. "It's not the same ship," he whispered into the shared mental space. "The vessel has been fundamentally altered at the quantum level. It exists simultaneously across 7 dimensions, its matter-energy matrix stabilized by what appears to be conscious will rather than physical loss." As the impossible ship materialized in normal space-time, every member of the Cosmic Federation experienced something they hadn't felt in eons: genuine shock. The Prometheus Dawn had returned, but it bore no resemblance to the crude human technology that had departed 5 years earlier. The ship now existed as a flowing sculpture of crystallized light, its hull shifting between states of matter as if the very concept of solid, liquid, and gas had become suggestions rather than rules. Patterns of pure consciousness moved across its surface like living equations, and the space around it bent in ways that made seasoned dimensional physicists question their sanity. Captain Sarah Chen's voice emerged from the vessel, but in no longer required primitive translation devices. Her words arrived directly in the consciousness of every being in the assembly, carrying layers of meaning that transcended language. "Greetings, Cosmic Federation. We have returned from our journey through the 7th dimension, and we bring greetings from the architects of reality itself." The response was immediate chaos. The psychic overmind of Kepler 4442b attempted to scan the human mind and immediately withdrew in pain. Their consciousness patterns are incomprehensible. They think in 7 dimensions simultaneously while maintaining individual identity. It should be impossible. Commander Nexel of the Geometric Alliance ran every probability calculation his species possessed. Error. Error. Mathematical models cannot process observed phenomena. Request immediate recalibration of universal constants. But it was Dr. Marcus Webb who truly shattered their understanding of what was possible. His consciousness expanded beyond the confines of the ship, touching each member of the assembly with gentle precision. As his mind interfaced with theirs, he casually solved mathematical proofs that had puzzled the galaxy's greatest intellects for millions of years. The crystalline collective's harmonic resonance equation, Webb's consciousness whispered to the geometric beings, can be solved by introducing consciousness as a fundamental force rather than an emergent property like this. With a thought, he demonstrated dimensional harmonics that made their entire species gasp in harmonic unity to the void swimmers. He offered solutions to their dark matter manipulation problems by showing how consciousness could navigate the spaces between atoms. To the mechanical ascendancy, he revealed how biological intuition could optimize their logical processes beyond pure computational limits. One by one, problems that had stymied galactic civilization for eons were solved with what appeared to be casual human intuition enhanced by 7th-dimensional awareness. Ambassador. Zexthul's ethereal form flickered with unprecedented confusion. How is this possible? Your species exhibited every marker of evolutionary failure. Emotional instability, chaotic thinking patterns, irrational decision-making processes. Captain Sarachen's consciousness touched his with something that felt like gentle laughter. You mistook our greatest strength for weakness. Our chaos, our emotions, our refusal to think in purely logical patterns. These weren't bugs in our programming. They were features that allowed us to interface with the fundamental consciousness that underlies reality itself. Dr. Elena Vasquez projected her awareness into the assembly, sharing the incredible truth they had discovered within the dimensional anomaly. The seventh dimension isn't just another layer of space-time. It's where consciousness and reality intersect. The architects of existence, entities that transcend individual species, have been waiting eons for beings capable of embracing paradox. The human crew had not simply survived their journey through the dimensional rift. They had encountered the cosmic engineers who designed the universe itself, beings of pure consciousness who existed beyond the limitations of matter and energy. These architects had been searching for species capable of evolutionary partnership, but every logical, emotionally suppressed civilization that found the dimensional doorways could only observe and catalog. They couldn't participate. Humans were different. Their chaotic, emotional, intuitive nature allowed them to not just witness the seventh dimension, but to dance with it. They could hold contradictory ideas simultaneously, feel their way through impossible logic, and maintain individual identity. While connecting to universal consciousness, Chief Engineer David Park shared his newfound understanding with the mechanical ascendancy. We learned that consciousness isn't separate from the universe. It's the universe observing itself. Your mechanical precision is beautiful, but it's like trying to play music by only using perfectly measured notes. Sometimes you need to feel the rhythm between the beats. The implications crash through the assembly like a tsunami of revelation. Humanity, the species they had mocked as primitive and emotional, had achieved something none of them had imagined possible. They had been invited to join the cosmic architects and the ongoing creation of reality itself. Elder Morpheus, who had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, felt something crack in his ancient worldview. But the statistical models, the predictive algorithms, the logical progression of species development, are all true? Sarah responded with infinite patience, for species that develop along purely logical lines. But the universe is bigger than logic. It requires both reason and intuition, both order and chaos, both individual creativity and collective harmony. The Cosmic Federation faced an impossible choice. They could maintain their pride and continue their orderly existence, or they could admit they had been wrong about the fundamental nature of consciousness itself, that it was the psychic overmind that broke first. The collective consciousness of billions of beings reached out tentatively to the human crew, requesting something they had never needed before: guidance. Teach us, the overmind whispered into the shared mental space. Show us how to embrace the chaos we have spent millennia suppressing. What followed was unprecedented in galactic history. The most advanced civilizations in known space became students of the species they had once dismissed as evolutionary failures. Humans, with their newfound seventh-dimensional awareness, began sharing techniques for balancing logic with intuition, order with creativity, collective harmony with individual expression. The transformation wasn't immediate, but it was profound. The crystalline collective began incorporating controlled dissonance into their harmonic patterns, discovering new forms of beauty they had never imagined. The void swimmers learned to navigate not just the spaces between matter, but the spaces between thoughts. The mechanical ascendancy discovered that occasional errors in their systems led to breakthrough innovations. Captain Saracen established what became known as the Consciousness Academy aboard a space station that existed simultaneously in normal space and the seventh dimension. Here, beings from across the galaxy came to learn the art of conscious evolution, the delicate balance between transcendence and individuality that humans had somehow mastered. The Cosmic Federation didn't dissolve. It evolved. What had once been a rigid hierarchy of advanced species became a dynamic network of conscious beings, exploring the infinite possibilities of existence itself. And at the center of this transformation were the humans, the chaotic, emotional, beautifully unpredictable species who had dared to embrace the unknown. Earth received a message from the Prometheus dawn that changed everything. Come join us among the stars. The universe has been waiting for dreamers who dare to make their dreams real. The age of logic-only existence is ending. The age of conscious creation has begun. Humanity had not just survived the mockery of advanced species, they had transcended it, showing the galaxy that sometimes the greatest wisdom comes not from perfect order, but from the courage to dance with beautiful chaos. The species once dismissed as primitive had become the teachers of transcendence itself. Asterisk.